My first party, I made a couple grand at the age of 14.
Really?
Yeah, man. And I bought my whole family lunch on Sunday, family lunch. And when the waiter came in and said the bill was taken care of and pointed at me.
Wow. Mummy was very proud of you.
No. She thought I stole the money from someone.
Before we start, make some noise in here! part of the show today. So welcome to Lockstock FM. I'm Spencer Taring, and this is the show where we feature entrepreneurs, thought leaders and provocateurs from around the world in no holds barred conversation. Today we've got Carta in the motherfucking house. Welcome to the show, bro. How you doing?
I'm good, bro.
And living the good life, I see, right?
Living the good life?
Yeah, and...
what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, you're just having a good time, aren't you? You're 25 years old now?
26, man.
26. Try and speak into that a little bit more. 26. Oh, maybe you're getting a bit old.
Yeah. Bro, you met me when I was, I think, 15, 16.
When I first met you, you came into the club and you were like this little wiener. And I was DJing at Mint. And you were like, hello, DJ Spenny, can I be your friend? And I was like, go
What
away,
about
please.
now?
I was like, go away. And now I'm
What
like...
about now?
Hello,
Carta, can I be your friend?
Please come on my podcast. Please, I promise you'll make it a nice podcast. No, very funny story we have, don't we, of how we met. So I was in Shanghai, as people know, and you rocked up to the club, 14 years old, just starting to get into DJing.
Did I message you on Facebook first?
Was Facebook a thing back then? It had just been blocked, hadn't it, actually?
Yeah.
I remember I got quite
on
big.
Facebook first.
Okay.
Because I couldn't. There's no way of me getting into Mint by myself.
So did I get you? Did I get you into Mint? Oh my god, that's shocking. And 14 years old in the club in China, but it was quite loose back then, wasn't it? Basically, as long
Not
as you...
Mint. Anywhere else, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I felt so cool about being in the club.
Well,
The club that no one else could get in, and then I took so many selfies and started sending it to people.
Yeah, I've still got those.
If you want to
got
come
those?
I think I can find it.
Did you get laid off it or not? Potentially. Okay. Not in the Mint bathroom though, right? Did you get laid in the Mint bathroom? Okay, only I did that. That was my claim to fame.
I was gonna say that, so we can say that shit out loud. Right?
Oh yeah, this podcast is all about everything, no holds barred. Say whatever you like.
I think I'm gonna spill some bins.
Okay, good. I'm looking forward to that. So I think people, the way I see life is that everyone thinks certain ways, but just don't say it, right? I mean, yeah, okay, me and you live quite extravagant lifestyles, being, I'm a former DJ, you are a current DJ, we travel, we live in Asia, things are a little bit more loose, a bit more masculine here than there are in the UK.
I like where this is going.
I'm worried. Maybe if this podcast kicks off, it could be game over for my career. Like, I know Spencer, he was misbehaving, he's a misogynistic motherfucker, and I'm like, oh my god.
And the worst thing is, it doesn't have to be true.
No, it doesn't.
A rumor could ruin it just like that.
It does, and
that's pretty fucked up.
You see so many. It happened to so many people.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Like Andrew Tate right now. I mean, that wasn't even.
Why is he in? What actually happened?
Well, the way I see it, he's got a number of girls working for him, making money from OnlyFans. Nothing illegal about it. They're all probably loving it because they're all making like 50 to 100 grand each themselves, and he's helping them by promoting it and running it. But he's probably being a bit of a, don't go out and do what I say, because it's, when you get that famous, ego.
That's his whole thing.
Yeah, ego gets to you a little bit.
That's his whole thing.
Yeah.
Listen to me.
Yeah, listen to me. Don't do it. It's my responsibility. And some of what he says is very true. He does speak the truth on a lot of things. But obviously, sometimes he crosses the line and people then take that and then use it against him. Like they did with Trump, when Trump said, grab him by the pussy. Or
that goes back to what we said yesterday. You have to be extreme.
Get the... Well, that's how he's done so well, isn't it?
You have to be extreme.
Yeah, well, we were discussing it for this podcast. Exactly. How clean should we keep it? The way I see it, you're either boring or you're not now.
Yeah.
You've got to be out.
The thing I hate about Western society the most is that they have so much pride in the so-called freedom of speech, but the moment you have a different opinion to the mass audience, you're banned from all platforms.
Completely.
That's fucked up.
Completely
freedom in
true,
that?
Isn't it? Let's get this recording because I've got a 360 camera for this show as well. So we're going to have a little bit of a show going on. This is actually our third proper episode, so I'm very excited to have you on it. Yeah, it's quite exciting. Getting cancelled is you spend all that time building up your Instagram, your YouTube, your following, and then boom, gone.
Yeah,
and it's some little nerd in the Instagram office goes, "Oh, I don't like that guy. He gets laid more than me. Delete." Yeah. And it's happened to me. I've been banned from Tinder and from Instagram, and I tried emailing them.
You probably said some shit as well.
Well, I mean, my Tinder page. I was using it a few years ago, and I can't remember doing. I'm not a nasty guy. I see myself as like.
I'll say you're straightforward.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm straightforward. Yeah, so I wouldn't ever mistreat someone in a way, like, because I feel like I have morals. Obviously I have strong opinions about certain things, but I wouldn't ever like be a really nasty person to someone, and certainly not on Tinder. So the way what I think happened was on Tinder, I probably said, "Oh, are you up for a threesome or something like this?" And some girl got kind of like pissed off about it. I'm like, well, I thought we were in this day where you're allowed to be like lesbian, gay, but transsexual, whatever, pansexual, whatever you want. But as soon as a white straight male says anything that's outside of the norm, it's like cancel.
Not okay.
Yeah, cancel immediately. So I got deleted off Tinder. I couldn't re-sign up. I had to sign up. I didn't use it for years. And then I tried to log in like a couple of months ago, and it was like, no. So I signed up with a different account. And
what about your Grindr profile?
Oh, my Grindr's doing well, mate.
Banned or?
Right, banned for being too successful. There's just too many people chasing me. I have actually become a bit of a gay icon. I get like loads of messages from guys like messaging me. Hey,
I'm not
baby.
surprised.
I feel like when girls have like 1,000 Instagram messages to go through whenever they're bored.
And most of the 900 probably from guys.
On,
maybe even more.
What, on your page or my page?
Out of the 1,000.
Out of my page.
For a hot girl.
For a hot girl, it's all guys. Yeah, all simps.
Only
yeah.
dudes.
Yeah. Have you done any simping? Be honest now.
Likely.
Be honest. You've done a few, haven't you?
I think I have done.
Yeah, I've done it as well. It's fine.
Sometimes it works.
Sometimes the girl is just too hot, and you just have to just try your little light. And it's worked for me a few times.
The hotter they are, the less you should be simping.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the conclusion I came to. It's the ugly ones that you got to simp.
Oh, and that's where the success rate is. Okay, well there you go. There's tip 101 from Giorgio Carta: how to get laid, simping on Instagram. Right, so let's go through some of all these topics because I know you very well. I've known you since the beginning. Well, almost 10 years. Almost 10 years now.
10 years.
And I met your mum first. She was a very obviously she's a very inspirational figure, and we'll talk a little bit about her later on. But let's go through. How did it all begin? You're number 59 in the world now, DJ. Doing very well, without a doubt, the number one Chinese DJ. Where did it all begin? Talk me through it.
I think it started with just an interest in the genre itself. Well, back then it was not really EDM, as we know. It's just electronic dance music. And I heard a record from Swedish House Mafia called One in a mixtape. And it felt different. It was all Katy Perry's, Pitbull's, and then there was that, which sounded very different in terms of just the groove, the energy, the sound design, everything's different. So, that caught me off guard. And I started diving into it, and I realized that, okay, this is called EDM or electronic dance music. It's what DJs play live, which is what people dance to at festivals, clubs. So after sort of diving into, the genre, and then that's I think the transition from liking EDM or electronic music into playing around on let's say a MIDI controller or a deck is pretty organic, I would say. Going from 1 to 2.
Well, it was 2012, 13, wasn't it?
No, even before that.
It was before that.
Like
when did One come out?
2010.
2010. Yeah, because it was a big. That was kind of 2010, 11, 12 was the prime of my. Well, it wasn't the height of my DJ career, but it was definitely the prime when I just moved to China. I was playing that style of music. It was very exciting. Yeah. I was quite an influential figure because I was, the king of Shanghai music scene basically back then, right? Without bigging myself up too much. But I was a very kind of controversial figure, so lots of people were talking about it and whatever. So when you started, EDM was like, it had kind of matured and it was ready to go for the big scene, wasn't it? That moment?
It was always, it's been there, the scene's been there, but I think it was just at the tipping point of it getting really, really, really commercialized.
Yeah.
It's hitting the mass appeal around 2010 to 2012 with the with guys like Swedish House Mafia, Avicii, David Guetta, and so on.
Swedish House Mafia is your like you would say the people that really got you into it. That was the first record, the one track.
Yeah.
Because I watched an interview actually of you when I was
Yeah.
researching, because I know you quite well, but I thought I'd do a bit of research on you and your career. I was watching yesterday you did an interview at ADE, actually the second time you went ADE.
Probably 2017, 16.
It was the first year you had the apartment, the house.
2017.
Because I remember that the graphic of your Carta
Yeah,
was in the
yeah,
background, right? And you were talking about how you got into it, and you mentioned,
Yeah.
excuse me, you mentioned one
But
as being the record.
the funnier part of that history would be at around 2012, because I was fucking around on the decks to myself in my bedroom for 2 years.
What was the
like that.
controller you were using?
Pioneer S1.
Pioneer S1. Okay, yeah, I remember that.
Like an all-in-one,
One of the first ones that were actually an
one of the
all-in-one for
earlier
Pioneer.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next step would be to try to play in clubs, obviously. And actually, at that time, and I don't even know how much of it I can say, but I'll say it anyways. People go to clubs at a young age.
Certainly in China they do, yeah.
Yeah, so you know.
And you were drinking, you were getting, having a good time. Maybe
Everybody was going out around 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And I had a group of friends from different international schools who were all going out. So then I figured I could probably pull a crowd of people if I was DJing in a club through word of mouth. And you make a Facebook event, people join this and that. So I went to this club that the kids were going to.
what was the name of the club?
Shanghai Win.
Shanghai Win.
Yeah.
Not Windows.
No.
Not Windows.
It's
different.
below Muse, the old Muse.
Okay.
Next to Sky.
And then you had a load of 14-year-olds turn up to watch your show. Did
Well, no. I went there during the day. They were having a meeting. So I walked in. I said, So they looked at me. They're like, what the fuck do you want? Who the fuck are you? Why are you here? Well, I want to DJ.
Yeah.
They're like, what the fuck do you mean you
But
want to
people
DJ?
like that. People like you. People just putting themselves out there. You know, that's always been, I guess, one of the reasons why you're doing so well is you're just not afraid to put yourself out there and not afraid of rejection, right?
Well, I did get rejected because they were
Yeah.
like, you look about 14.
And they're like, fuck off, you little.
And I had a
woman,"
fake ID. I was like, hey,
Yeah.
look, I'm 18. They
Was it
said,
one of the ones I made, or was it?
No.
I used to make them when I was a kid. Fake IDs. Another one I get arrested.
no,
for.
so they were like, yeah, we don't need a DJ. Just go home. So I was like, fuck. How can I play?
We only employ white DJs back then because that was the cool thing, wasn't it?
That was.
When I turned up in Shanghai, it was that I basically got booked because I was white, and by the time I left, I wasn't booked because
You were white.
white men are like the evil antichrist of the world. So yeah,
No, so I went home. I was like, okay. I got turned down. So then I started questioning and thinking, I was like, okay, why do they run a club? It's a business. So they want to make money. So actually, indirectly, if I can help them to make a profit, then maybe there's a chance of me playing at the club. So I went back a week later around the same time because I know that's when the staffs are there. So, the guy saw me again and said, like, what do you want? Why are you back?
if I let you play, will you leave me alone?
Why are you back? So I explained to him, I said, what if I threw parties at this venue where we would sell a ticket at the price of 100 kwai? And if I managed to sell 100 tickets, then we'd split the profit 80-20, 80 to the club, 20 to me. 150, 75, 25, 200 plus is 70, 30.
Okay.
So they were like, can you pull a crowd like that? I said, well, I think I can. Let's give it a try. And then I said, the only condition would be I want to DJ at my own parties.
Yeah.
They said, okay, then you're not using our residence. So you're playing from 10 to 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was so happy to
Okay.
be able to play to a crowd for 5 hours straight. Yeah. Most DJs think that's shit, playing 5 hours.
That's where real DJing comes from, mate. That's where
Yeah.
you learn to be a proper DJ. When
Yeah.
I started DJing, I was doing 7-8 hour sets.
Yeah.
I had a catch on a couple of episodes ago, and I DJed in Frankfurt with him, and we did a 7-8 hour set in his club.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the idea of the fact that I can play for 5 hours to actual people, So
Very eclectic set, warming it all up, going right
Yeah,
through.
yeah, yeah.
Could you still do it now?
Yeah.
Could you get a little
I think
bit?
the last time I
Gets
played
harder if you're not practicing.
4 hours set was a year and a half ago. I was very drunk.
Very drunk, yeah. But you get, once you become like elevated status, you kind of get sport a bit, don't you? Because you just get, everything gets warmed up for you. You turn up, you smash out.
You
like
don't appreciate shit
60
anymore.
minutes.
You don't
yeah.
appreciate anything anymore.
I mean, the show you did at Hong Kong in Boomerang the other night, you turned up, you just absolutely slam the best tracks for like 60 to 90 minutes, and then you're out. And That's kind of how we always made it in Mint after a while,
Yeah.
and that meant I could go chat to some girls afterwards, and you have a good night, right? As opposed to being really into the music, which is what you do at the beginning of your career.
Yeah. My first party, I made a couple grand at the age of 14.
Really?
Yeah, man. And I bought my whole family lunch on Sunday, family lunch. And when the waiter came in and said the bill was taken care of and pointed at me.
Wow. Mummy was very proud of you.
No. She thought I stole the money from someone. Because I was telling them that I was sleeping over at a friend's house, but I was actually DJing and partying.
So that's an interesting subject, I see. So how did you, because your mum comes from a very business background. She's obviously a very successful, wealthy woman. How did she like the fact or dislike the fact that you wanted to be a DJ? Did it take a while for you to warm her up to the idea? And tell me what the process through that.
I think whether or not she's in business didn't have too much of an impact on her opinion of my, let's say, choice of career or industry. It's more so that Asian families or culturally Asian parents,
you've got to be a doctor or you've got to be a surgeon.
No, they don't really understand entertainment. You say you want to DJ. To them, DJing is someone who works in a nightclub. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all you do. And actually, the nightclub environment is not seen as a positive place.
Well, it's not really, is it?
Not really. They're not. I mean, yeah,
they're not wrong. They're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
I mean, we're having a good time.
They're not wrong. They're not wrong about that. Yeah. So it was pretty tough in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because mom wanted me to go to uni, obviously, and then I was DJing, and I just told her, I'm not gonna study. I'm not gonna uni because this is what I want to do. And she said, "Oh, you said that about tennis when you were younger. You said that about this and that.
You grow out of it. Blah blah blah."
Yeah. So it was only until I think it was 2014. I was in boarding school in England, but I was already producing at the time. So I signed a record to Spinning in 2014, and that record from the start of just the project file to it being finished is probably about 6 months.
What was the record? I can't remember it now.
Called Hydrogen.
Yeah. Was it on
Dawn? It was on Dawn.
It was on Dawn. Yeah,
2014.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was brainwashing. I was like showing it to everyone because I was like, I think
it was a big thing, wasn't it? The first proper Chinese DJ to be on Spinning, right?
Fast forward to the record being released. She was in Singapore at F1, one of the parties, and then out of nowhere she heard the record being played on the radio, and she's like, "Oh, that's my son's record. That's my son's record."
So that was the turning point.
Yeah. Then she was kind of like, "Okay, it's going somewhere."
Yeah. But then she kind of stepped in, and she helped you a lot with your career, hasn't she?
Financially, so I've always been the guy steering the wheels in terms of anything to do with creatives. But I hate numbers. So she's dealing with contracts and numbers from the start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I probably should learn about.
She's a good negotiator though. So, and also knows how to get you out there. I remember when I was doing business for Spinning.
Yeah.
And I had the guys come out to Shanghai for the event, and they were staying at the Mandarin, and then she set them up a boat ride and kind of like introduced herself and then got you on the show. And that was kind of like the moment that your relationship was kind of solidified.
The way I hustle into things is probably nature and nurture. Bit of both.
Send in the tiger mum. All right, so let's talk about the DJ Mag list.
Yeah.
So you're number 59. You've been in there for
5 years.
5 years now.
6 years now.
Yeah. Obviously, like when we were talking, being in the DJ Mag is very important for. I mean, earning potential is big, right? Especially in Asia, and everyone goes, "Oh, I'm going to be in the DJ Mag. Oh, I'm going to get there. Whatever. Oh, I'll just buy it. Whatever. Blah blah blah." But actually doing it is a different thing because it takes.
You were there when. I think they announced it for the first time ever for me back in 2017. We're at dinner in Amsterdam. Yeah. And they announced it, remember?
I remember it, yeah. So back then, getting into that list, it's people think, oh, you just buy it. That, I think there's a component to it where you have to spend money with DJ Mag, but you need to have the status, you need to have the background, you need to have the fan base. So it's not just anyone can be in it. You have to be the right
You got to tick
position.
off all the boxes, I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then once you're in it, I guess you maintain relationships,
Yeah.
build up your career, keep pushing in the right direction, and you get some hype behind you, and that enables you to grow the list. Have you got an aspiration of where you want to be, or what's the next step?
I mean, you know, I'm a very, very extreme guy, so it's all or nothing for me. And
Well, you're not going for number one, are you?
I am going
Oh,
for number one.
wow, okay. All right. Can you
But
sign this
no,
little piece of paper?
But
and
no,
sort
no,
of
no.
off?
Let me finish.
Tiesto and Armin.
The definition of number one is obviously debatable. And to think that I'll get to DJ Mag number one, I don't know about that, because I feel like this industry is pretty, it doesn't come from Asia, let's say. It's a European American industry.
They couldn't ever have a Chinese guy.
That's the thing. I don't think that's possible. I don't think they're going to let a Chinese guy get to number one.
Yeah.
At least on the list, I don't think that's...
What,
ever
DJ
gonna
Mag is from
England. Yeah.
I know, we've got like an Indian prime minister now. You might as well, and maybe they'll let a Chinese guy be number one DJ. You never know.
I'm hoping for that.
God, yeah.
2023, right?
Can you imagine having an English guy as the leader of China?
Fuck that. Get the fuck out of here.
I tried to explain this to people. I'm like, wow, we're in, UK is a great place, but we're actually a bunch of pussies now, because we're just giving everything back. We're one of the greatest empires that ever existed, and now we give back Hong Kong, 20 years or whatever.
As you should. Appreciate it.
Well, I don't know about that. If you speak to a lot of people in Hong Kong, they're like, we like the British rule, Like,
Yeah, but I can give you an example. It's the same in Spain. You have all those people in Barcelona.
Yeah.
Or what's the area?
The
called?
Catalans.
Yeah, they want to become independent, but people in Madrid will say no.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see in the next 20, 30 years, won't we? I think Hong Kong.
we're living an interesting time.
I mean, we're shooting this podcast in Hong Kong now, so it's quite interesting that we're here. And it's definitely a great place. I mean, I do love Hong Kong, and all the kind of like the British influences here are really good. So
I
apart
wish
from
they spoke Mandarin.
Speak Cantonese, right? Mostly Cantonese. Apart from the wanker bankers that are out on Lang Kwai Fong Wan Chai every weekend,
Dirty Wan Chai.
Going to dirty Wan Chai. It gets pretty hectic down there, doesn't it? Right, so drugs and alcohol in the club.
Yeah.
I don't drink anymore, but I used to love having a good couple of drinks in the club. So when you're DJing, you're drinking, right?
Always. I mean, you know what? I am a big drinker, and I think a lot of people in the industry knows that I'm a big drinker. It's to the point that I have a reputation among the agents. Whoever would be touring in China.
They're trying to avoid you because they don't.
No,
want to
whoever would be touring in China, and then
Yeah.
I'll take them out for dinner, this and that, and their agents would tell them, "Good luck.
Yeah,
It's a black eye now for you today."
Well, a lot of people kind of want that. They want to lose it a little bit. And also, it's not their responsibility anymore. It's someone else's fault. So, everyone wants to have a crazy night out and it not be their fault, So, and you're a young guy, so I guess you can enjoy that as part of your
I drank,
scene.
but it was to a point that I felt like I'm not drinking to enjoy it, but rather I needed it before I play. So back in 2020, I quit drinking for about 8 months, just for the sake of trying to do it without having to drink,
Did you do many shows in 2020 though?
Oh, a lot of shows. And to tell you what, it's actually not bad. It's only the first 15 minutes that you feel a bit awkward until you start sweating and stuff. You kind of settle in, then it feels okay. Yeah. But DJing without drinking is not the issue for me. It's using the mic, because I actually hate going on the mic. I hate to do that. I hate cameras. I hate the mic, and I fucking hate all of that stuff. To DJ, I'm okay, but to do everything else without the alcohol, that was painful.
It's nice having someone else being a hype man for you, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can just get on with playing the music and having a good time.
Yeah.
So I've doing hype man stuff myself for a while, and it's a bit of a pain in the ass. Well, that's quite an interesting segue into the COVID stuff, because 2020 you said you did a lot of shows. Now 2021 or 22, you said to me the other day that it was like the worst year, because
21 was okay. 22 was horrendous.
And that's mainly because of, do you think China's positioning and how they've dealt with Corona? Do you think that affected it? You couldn't leave and come back in and this kind of stuff?
It's just the Shanghai lockdown that caused everything. Because Shanghai is such a important, I would say, city.
It's leading the way in nightlife for the rest of the country. So when Shanghai's doing crappy, everywhere else is doing crappy.
It's almost like it's the center of a lot of industries, and it's a crossing point. So when Shanghai is fucked, then it affects practically a lot of
And a lot of your shows were
the country.
A lot of your shows are in China, right?
Yeah.
There's so many. There's like 80 to 100 cities you can basically go
I mean,
to.
it was not. I didn't plan to leave the country to play a couple of shows and come back and quarantine for 2 weeks. It was not worth it at that point. And I've done it. You know, I didn't plan to do it again. It fucking sucked.
And international DJs, there've basically been none in China for the last 2 years.
There were maybe a couple.
Yeah.
But I feel like the market has changed so much domestically to the point that even if the internationals come back, which I heard they are coming back this year, there's going to be a disconnection.
You think people are not going to be interested?
Between the music the internationals are playing versus what the locals want.
I felt like there's recently been a bit of disconnection globally from DJs because of the corona stuff that's going on. It was like the last thing people wanted to think about was DJs. You know, people just wanted their normal lives back.
Entertainment, generally speaking.
Yeah, they wanted to, you know, get their basic rights back, you know, because everyone's been in lockdown. It's been pretty horrible. This year, it's finally, China's opened up yesterday. Whenever we're releasing this podcast, it'll be 2 weeks ago. No more quarantine, which is great. So they're still not allowing tourist visas, so I still can't go back. But I'll get a business visa and go back at some point. I've got to go see my dog. And then that's interesting because you did a club investment, didn't you? So you're not just doing DJing stuff. Obviously, you're making good money from DJing. You're doing like 50 to 100 shows a year.
Well, no, not 2022.
Not 2022.
Divide by 10.
Divide by 10, yeah.
5 to 10 chills.
This year you're going to do 50 to 100, aren't you?
This year, yeah.
Yeah,
Easy.
and some festivals.
Easy. Yeah, a lot of festivals.
So what about your investments into other things? You've done Core in Shanghai you invested into? What?
Yeah, it's
tell me through that. And why did you do that? And
I saw it more as a platform in the sense of I would always host guests. Let's say it can be someone from our industry, from Europe or America, or friends of a friend who's in town. You know, I like to host people. I like to have a good time. So rather go into different places, I know shit will be taken care of at Core because it's a restaurant, it's a lounge. It gets really lit as well after like 11 o'clock. And even if I'm not there, when I need shit to be taken care of for someone, I know it.
You've got a bit of pull. You've got a bit of leverage in the club, because you're a shareholder there.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I did a couple of club shareholdings and they were terrible. So I remember when you were doing it and I was like...
Yeah, but I think...
make sure you've got that extra bit of value from it, which is what you're describing now. It's not just a monetary investment. You actually got some really good use case for it.
I never saw it as an investment.
Yeah.
It's just a platform for me. It's not an investment.
I've always said to people, it's much better to be the biggest spender in the club than to be the owner of the club. Everyone goes, oh, I want to be a club owner. I'm like, no, you don't. You've got to deal with so much crap, like fights and...
I think to be a part of a
egoism.
club is fun. To be the owner, the boss who's dealing... No, fuck that, bro.
Yeah. That was the interesting model with Mint. Mint had 200 shareholders, right? And everyone paid Mint. I'll put a link in the description of where I was DJing when I moved to Shanghai, M1NT. Shareholder club, 200 people, and people that invested the 25 grand for the shares, they just didn't really care about it. It was an amazing model because they just didn't really care about the 25 grand. It was just they cared that, oh, I'm a shareholder of this club, or I'm the owner. You know, they'd take girls, they'd say, oh, I'm the owner, or they'd take their mates. And
bragging rights, man.
Yeah, it's bragging rights. And it's important. I mean, you need it in life. I mean, people that say they don't need
bragging rights.
Status is so important. There's a really interesting bit of research done on status, which obviously shows the obvious that women are much more interested in men that have status.
Yeah.
You know, necessarily maybe the way they dress or the way other people treat them. The higher status, the more likely a lady's
status over six packs, bro.
Status over six packs. Yeah, I still can't get six packs. I've been trying for so long, but you've been trying. I see you've kind of got big.
I had
been hitting the gym
until like a month ago.
You've been hitting the gym hard, or what's been the difference?
I did. I think dieting, man. Dieting.
Yeah.
You gotta simplify shit.
What was the diet you did?
You just have to simplify shit. Like the only thing I ate were eggs, steaks, cooked in butter, and fruits. Oh, and cheese.
It's obvious, really, isn't it?
That's it.
It's obvious. It's just very hard to do.
I think it's easier to be done if you're at home. It's harder if you're constantly traveling.
Yeah, I mean, I come here and I'm like straight down to McDonald's to grab some food. I'm like, God.
I mean, I haven't done shit for a month. You know, I'm super weak in the gym compared to a month ago.
I tried to get you to do a handstand. You couldn't do it.
I've never done that.
All right. So the music you make, I know you've got a new record out right now.
Yeah.
What's the name of it? Where's it going? Who's it signed on? To do a bit of promotion for it?
My remix of Golden Hours. Yeah, it's a
remix. Yes.
It's a remix of Jake's Golden Hours.
What kind of style is it?
I'll say it's pretty housey, 4 on the floor. Got that disclosure feel to it. It's quite UK. Because the original is very, very, very melodic and emotional. So I wanted a version that people can still enjoy in cars in the morning or whatsoever. But that's still playable.
So it's radio friendly a little bit, or it's for the club.
It's radio friendly. It's more radio friendly, but it's still playable. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put a link for that down in the description or in the video so people can check out that track. Make sure you go and buy it. It's called, again?
Golden Hour by Jake, Carta remix.
Okay, and that's on which label?
Spotify. It's on Spotify. The original's released by Atlantic, so Warner. But my remix was released by Liquid State, Sony.
Okay, and you said they're doing quite well as a label, right?
Yeah.
They've done better.
Yeah.
If you weren't a DJ, what would you be?
If I what?
If you weren't a DJ, what would you be?
I don't know. I think the fact that I don't know what I would be if I weren't a DJ.
What are your other
motivation.
What are your skills?
I have no skills, man.
Just pressing buttons, yeah.
Dude, I just have great sense.
Pressing buttons and put your hands in the air.
No. Okay.
How good's your Jesus pose?
Let's dive into this. That's Lumen. Let's dive into this. I think. What do you think is the most important factor as a DJ?
The way I see DJing is very similar to the way that I see comedians. A comedian can say the same joke as the next person, but the way he says it and his timing and his understanding of the anticipation of saying that joke makes it funny compared to one person that doesn't make it funny, even though it's exactly the same joke, right? And for me, it's the same for DJ. So you can play the same 10 tracks that every other DJ playing. And a lot of DJs play very similar music, but it's moment.
It's when you play.
It's the moment at which you play that record, and it's the moment at which you drop it in, and the next track and the transition. Not necessarily the skill. Obviously, being able to mix is a skill, right? And yes, that's important. But
skill you can practice, but the sense is something you're born with or not. I think.
Yeah, I think, and also experience. You get a lot from experience.
Yeah.
So you know, when I was in my full DJ mode, every song I played, I knew how every different type of person would react to that particular song at a particular time of the night. So I'd be vibing with a group of people. I'd get them vibing. I'd know how to get them going. And once they were going, that would rub off on everyone else in the club. And that's how you get the hype going, right? And I think like a lot of, certainly bedroom DJs that release a big track and suddenly just go to DJ at a festival, they don't have that
They're
skill.
producer DJs. They're just mixing from A to B.
They don't have that skill.
No, they're just mixing from A to B.
So when you're in a club and you don't have the hype behind your name, to be a good DJ, it is a skill.
It's a tougher job.
Yeah.
I mean, I always say this: anyone can play the main stage.
Yeah.
Play the hits. You'll have the crowd.
Yeah, it's easy.
It's the easiest thing to do is to play the main stage.
Yeah. So coming from being an actual DJ to starting producing music is much better.
Yeah.
So your productions that you're doing, how many think you need to release every week or every month? Sorry, what's the kind of schedule for your records?
I think there's no one right approach to get to where you want to be.
But you can't be a big DJ now without records.
Yeah. Well, James Hype did really well without the records.
Yeah,
and then he had the record.
He was kind of like a male version of Juicy M, though, wasn't he? He was doing all the mixed stuff and like.
But a lot better.
Hello, Juicy,
Sorry,
a friend
Juicy.
of mine. No, but he's a very like skilled turntablist, right?
Yeah.
So he was doing loads of cool stuff, and he was getting great visuals on it. And then he had the big record that went boom, blew up his career. And we're obviously hoping that you're going to get a similar record to blow up your career, because I feel like that's what you kind of need to go to the next stage. Isn't it?
You need a hit. You need a hit.
Yeah.
Whether if it's a club hit or a radio hit, you need a hit. I think at this point of day.
Get a sample, redo it.
Everyone's doing that.
No, they're doing it for a reason, because the samples
works.
Are the best. Yeah. So let's get into some other parts. Let's go advice for young DJs in the industry. I mean, you're a young DJ already, but let's say younger DJs that are looking to get into DJing. I asked someone else the other day and they said, don't do it. So what do you think? Good career path? Happy with where you're going?
Advice, I mean, I can always talk about the corny bullshit about, passion. You have to be passionate about this and that. You have to focus. But I think what's important is you have to remember why you got into it.
Why did you get into it?
it's just the feeling of when you're playing, you know. But like we said earlier, you kind of become a bit spoiled after being in the scene or becoming someone in the industry. You don't appreciate.
You forget
the
kind of like the
things.
original reason why you're in it, right?
Yeah.
Which is why you say.
Yeah.
I mean, I got into it because I'm a bit of a megalomaniac, and I love the ability of controlling the emotion in the room. That's why I love DJ, and I always will love DJ. And obviously retired now because I'm too old, can't keep up with the young boys. But yeah, I think you're right. Remember the reason why you got into it, especially as you get more successful.
Yeah.
Because like you say, you're just turning up now, doing those big power hour sets, and then that's kind of your show. That's why a lot of kind of bigger DJs sometimes they do like private little events just to kind of like refine their passion.
I think
for the
you
music.
need to be able to balance everything out yourself, you know, like I actually have more fun playing a show that is not a show where I just rock up at the club, the vibe is good, I just go in a DJ booth and plug in my USBs and play, because that's when you can truly play a set.
Yeah, like when your friend's playing or something like that, and they jump on for
there are
20
no
minutes and
expectations, there are no rules, because if I'm playing a Carta show, there are certain records that I probably need to play. And there are expectations from the venue and the crowd. They expect a certain sound, certain style, but I think that's very, very I just feel very, very limited. It's more fun when you can just do everything. And people and I don't know how to put this, man. Do you know what I mean? There's some nights that it's not, you don't have a show day, but you ended up DJing.
No expectations on you. You
Yeah.
don't have anything prepared. You're just like, I just want to spin.
Yeah.
And it feels like a bit special, more special, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you can enjoy it more. So what's your highlight of your career so far?
Highlight.
Apart from being on stage with DJ Spenny in his prime.
Highlight, bro. Dude, I gotta say, I've had a pretty good career so far, actually. Just to think that I've been on, I've played Tomorrowland in Belgium, EDC Vegas, Ultra Miami.
I was with you in EDC Vegas, right?
Yeah, man. To think that I've already ticked off all these boxes off in terms of shows, and then also releasing on labels I've always wanted to release on, like, Spinning, Axtone, Musical Freedom. It's, like I did everything I've ever wanted to do as my 14-year-old self. But then you start questioning, then what's next?
So 10 years in the industry.
Yeah.
I mean, you eclipsed all the stuff I did. I did quite a few things, and I was like, releasing records. Then you came along. I said, here's this little kid, you know what? And then you started doing stuff. We released one record as Euphoric, right? You were called Euphoric before.
Yeah.
And actually, I had a few comments on my YouTube channel from a while ago. They're like, "Where's this Euphoric kid gone?" And I was like, "Well, he's now Carta." And they're like, "Oh, okay, wow, okay, boom." And then people find you. All right. So, what about your low point? What's been the most difficult moment? I imagine last year was pretty tough.
No, last year was shit, but it was so out of my control, so I didn't really bother with it, because there was nothing I could have done to change about, any of the things that were going on. But I think my lowest moment would probably be end of 2018, early 2019, where I was already pretty successful in the industry here. So in my mind, when I go to a show, they pay me good money. My fee. They pay me good money to play. So how I see it as, I'm at this stage, I've got this platform, and I need to, give back. Or
You need to be valued for money, don't you? You can't just turn
like,
up, take the money, and piss off. You have to provide.
Yeah, but I wanted to do something different, because I thought I was in the position to teach. So I played things that they may not have heard. I was playing house. It's not that underground. I was just playing house, man. But like the feedbacks were really bad. That the people were not reacting, and I was sort of like, I had this battle in my head of like, I know what to play to get them going. It's so easy, but fuck, man, you're paying me this amount of money. If I did that, then why the fuck am I here? But the conclusion I came to was, first of all, especially in the clubs here, they don't come here for the music. They don't give a fuck, man. Like, as bad as this sounds, the dudes are here to get laid. That's it.
Yeah. That's why when I'm not drinking, I don't go to the club anymore. There's no point.
The dudes are here to get laid,
Yeah.
and they pop the bottles to show off to get laid.
Yep.
That's That's just it. So if the girls are not dancing, then the dude who's paying for the table is not happy, and then the dude complains, and then the club is not happy.
Yeah.
So I figured it out. As long as all the girls on the tables are dancing, having a good time, as long as they're moving, dude's having a great time, who's spending,
everyone's happy.
Yeah, everyone's happy. Who's spending probably like 30, 40, 50K. And the second thing that I realized was that my passion is DJing. So it's not necessarily with a specific subgenre. I'm passionate about DJing, and my career is my passion. Then why the fuck am I nitpicking the little details of, why do they not want to listen to house? Why do I have to play bigger? Why do I have to play commercial? There are tons of people who are stuck in their 9-to-5s and hate their fucking lives.
Yep.
And I'm making, the amount of money I make in one show is probably how much they make in a month or even a year sometimes. So why the fuck am I complaining about, I want to play house? Shut up. You know?
Shut up, play the music.
Yeah, just play, please the crowd.
Well, and that gives you the good feeling, like pleasing the crowd.
Yeah, like if they're happy, they're reacting, I'm happy too. Like the joy, the source of the joy comes from different angles. One would be, I'm playing the music I like and I'm happy, or it could be that everyone is having a good time, so I'm happy.
I think a lot of people go through that moment. Certainly DJs, because you get to that, like you said, you get to that stage where you feel like I've got a lot to offer. I want to do more than just be like a jukebox of playing the same music that everyone else is playing. I mean, you can put like your flair on it, can't you? You make edits, make little mashups. You're playing it in a slightly different way, so you do have your flair. But I can definitely relate to that, and I've seen a number of DJs go through that stage, and then they realise, fuck, I've got to play the bangers. Let's make this club pump. That's what makes me feel good,
You know what I like about Calvin Harris is that he got so commercially big, and then he went, fuck this, I'm going to do me.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, listen to the stuff he's releasing in the past 2 years.
I haven't heard from Calvin Harris in years.
It's either tech house, techno, like house.
But have you heard from him in ages? I've not seen a release from Calvin Harris in ages.
He does that. Last year, he released a couple of things.
Right. But they're not big, are they?
No, dude, look at the numbers. We're talking about like nine figures on Spotify.
Yeah, well, he's like a bit of a abnormally though, isn't he? Because he's like uber, one of the most successful DJs ever in the history of
But that's
DJing.
my goal, is to get so big commercially and then do your own thing. You have to win the crowd first to be able to introduce,
to influence people.
To be able to introduce.
So they're coming more to see you than they are to go out and get.
So again, it's two mindsets, it's two approaches. Is one is you stick to your own thing.
Yeah.
It's truly, and you stick through it, years and years and years of building, like a snowball to build it up. The other way would be first you target the mass, and then through the mass you can sort of nitpick and pick up.
So you've got a little plan going on in your head of how you're going to get there.
Oh yeah, dude.
So we talked a little bit about your mother already, who I know, Shindy. What about your father? You've got like you've met him. I've met him. Yeah,
he's crazy.
Crazy guy. you're half Chinese, half Italian, right? Yeah. So if China and Italy went to war, who you fighting for?
Bro, China, bro.
China, number one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably fight for China too.
China, bro.
So my plan is to have Chinese babies. That's the plan at the moment. I've got to find a girlfriend first. Anyone available can just tap down in the comments below. Send me your CV. We'll check you out. Okay, so. I know your dad was he not around like much? You've basically been raised by your mother, haven't you?
Yeah. No, they're not together. So I see him every summer when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So who was your father figure then?
He was my father figure. The boyfriends of mother.
The boyfriends of mother.
No,
okay, but your mother's a very good-looking lady, though, isn't she?
I'm just joking, dude. No, I would say mom, man. She's manlier than most of the dudes out there.
Yeah, like, for sure. Well, she's like a
you compare her to
crazy tiger mom, isn't she?
Bro, she's got. I say this to everyone. My mom's got the biggest balls in the family.
Hopefully not really, but yeah. Hopefully not real balls, but yeah. But I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. She's a pretty ferocious, isn't she?
If anything, I feel like I'm missing some of that feminine side of things. I'm too just a dude.
You're too much of it. No emotions. You can cry on the podcast if you like. We won't. There's nothing wrong with it if you want to cry. Just go for it. Let it all out, mate. So let's talk about the universe and aliens.
Oh yeah,
Because
I was waiting for that.
Yeah,
What do you want? What do you want to know?
Well, because
What do you want to know?
you know, I've heard these rumors,
Yeah.
and I know you mentioned it to me before. You mentioned to me, "Oh, I've been talking to some alien
You
guy."
didn't
or
believe
something
me.
like that. I still don't believe you. So, and it's not that I don't believe. It's not that I don't believe you. I believe that you believe it. And I'm a very open-minded person because I'm not religious. I don't believe in religion, but I do believe in like the different stages of civilization. So type 0 all the way up to type 7.
Yeah.
So I do believe that there's a type 7 civilization that's created everything that we're in. You know, all the stuff about black holes, us being in a black hole and then being another black hole outside, and infiniteness of, you know, infinite number of multiverses. So I do
Dimensions, that.
I do know that there is something that we don't know. I know that, right? So I think the way that it gets the way that it's communicated is in different ways. So I want to hear. Tell me what's your experience. What is it that you know that I don't know?
Fuck, bro.
Where do you start?
Where do you start, man?
Well, let's start with the fact about 2 years ago, you told me I had an epiphany. I basically saw some light. Some guy started talking to me. It was something like this. The first time someone talked to you.
No. That's still just a tiny piece of the chunk. I think we gotta take a step back.
Okay, let's take a step back and start right at the beginning.
So
you're a very serious. I see you as a very serious, lucid guy. You're not crazy. You're very serious about your stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to listen intently to what you got to say. Okay, so
I'm not religious.
Yeah.
I don't believe in religion, but I understand different religions. I've gone through the Bible and then Tao Te Ching, which is the Taoism Bible, and then Heart Sutra and all that. So I've dived into it. I get it. There is a message, but I don't believe in religion itself because I feel like religion is a way of suppressing and control.
Yeah, I would say I would say for any logical person, that's obvious. Now, I would just push back on that religion has been very important in creating Homo sapiens as the dominant species on the planet because it's enabled us to have a shared goal and work together as a culture. Without it, you can't have complex relationships above like 30 or 40 people. That's why gorillas and monkeys, once you get above 30, 40 groups, they split into other clans, right? Mm-hmm. So Homo sapiens became the most dominant because they created basically religion, an idea for them to come together. So I wouldn't say it's like for dumb people. That's just the wrong way of putting it. But I do understand that it's man-made, and I'm almost certain about that.
But it's just like a business, the product itself could be the same, but where you are marketing it and wherever your target market is, the strategies are different. And that's how I see religions. It's the same message being told, but just at different times by different people in different regions. So therefore the method was different. And obviously, just like what we talked about earlier, you give the same 10 songs to different DJs. They're all going to play it differently. So the same message being told by different people in different language, obviously going to get interpreted differently by the audience as well.
Yeah, well, all religions have a very similar
do good, positive, do good, do no harm, spread love.
Yeah.
That's it.
Or Islam, if you don't believe in this, we're gonna,
No, but that's the fucked up part is, if you don't believe in us, then you're going to hell.
Yeah.
Like who the fuck said that?
Yeah.
And also with religion, a lot of people sort of idolize. That's to idolize. It could be Jesus or Muhammad or whoever, but actually they're not God. They're so-called the messenger. They're the ones who are spreading, let's say, truth.
Okay, so how does this relate to your experiences?
Because I think everything is
what happened. Tell me what happened with your first kind of, because you've told me no fucking around. You've told me straight up, I've talked to aliens.
Yeah.
So tell me what your first experience of that is and where did it come from?
It's even before that, because I started meditating and then, 2020, 2019, 2020, a couple months in, I was meditating on my balcony in the morning. I always do in the morning. And then I just heard a voice saying, it's not it's not like, how you have your thoughts? Mm-hmm. It's not the inner voice. It's a complete different stranger's voice saying a sentence of, if you're looking for the truth, you're looking for it turn off your brain and switch on your heart. It was like fucking broad daylight, 7 a.m. I was like, dude, I was scared shitless. I was like, who the fuck's talking to me on my balcony? Fuck that, dude. So I went in. My ex-girlfriend at the time were with me. I was like, yeah, like somebody just spoke to me. She said, what do you mean? I said, no, and then I repeated the sentence. She said, like, what have you been smoking? I was like, dude, it's fucking 7 a.m, bro. What the fuck do you mean, man? Yeah. I just, go to bed, rest. And then a couple of days later, we were having dinner. And I heard the same voice again, but it's just a name, Nikola Tesla. I was like, oh, babe, who's Nikola Tesla? She said, I don't know. Who is that? How do you know the name? I said, I don't know. It's the same fucking voice.
Never heard that name before.
No, it's the same voice saying that name. I was like, okay, search it up. And then I searched him up. Oh, pretty cool. He talks about how he talks to aliens, quantum physics, free energy, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And then a couple weeks later, I'll send you the videos as well. You can say, oh, it could be a drone, it can be this, it can be that, but there are a lot of videos I got. A couple weeks after, it always happened either before or after I meditated. I'll look up and I see like a flying, like a light thing just in the air passing by. Mm-hmm. And it's similar. It's always the similar kind of whatever the fuck it is. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, this is interesting. That's why I have a lot of videos and footages, because I would always, like it's the same thing. To the point that I stopped caring. I was like, I see you fucking every other day. And I'll send it to people as well. They're like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, yeah. UFOs, whatever. And then fast forward to a couple months after that, I was on my balcony drinking tea, 6 p.m. And then I was looking up the sky. I was looking at, not sunset. Then I looked at this part of the cloud. It just didn't look like clouds. It looked like as if you went on your laptop, YouTube, you typed in the cloud videos, and it's like played off a screen, Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, this is kind of funny. This is weird. So I was looking at it, and then I started taking pictures, and I was looking, like zooming into the pictures and stuff. And then I started seeing some shapes of just look like crafts. And I got really excited. I was like, oh, I fucking see you guys. I see you guys. I got you. And then as I was getting very excited, I felt like there's someone or something. There's a force on my forehead, like here, just was holding me like that. And my instinct was, fuck, they know. I was like, they know I can see them. I'm getting taken away. I'm fucked. I was like, fuck, they know. They know? Shit. What am I going to do? Fuck.
Amazing instinct, actually, isn't it?
Dude, I was scared shitless. I ran back into my room.
Yeah.
I sat on the bed. And I was looking outside of the window like a kid, because the feeling was still there. I was like, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is this? What the fuck, man? And, I just know that they knew. That's how I just knew that they know that I could see it. Mm-hmm. And then I was sitting there and the feeling was that feeling was still there. And then I saw a shadow come into my room. So it's like, a shadow like that, but it's like a round shadow slowly getting bigger and bigger and started covering the whole room as if like I got sucked into it or whatever. It felt really weird. And then just by looking into my room, the whole feeling of time and space and just everything looked a bit off. And keep in mind that's around 7 o'clock in the summer, so it's still bright out there. And then I I looked. My memory about that hour is also really, really just the timeline and everything. It's kind of it's fucked up. So I don't remember how it went from the thing covering the whole room and I got sucked into it. And then next thing I remember was I was looking at the balcony, and then there was 3 silhouettes standing on the balcony. I don't know if they're standing or not, but like you see the head, the long body, but you can see through it still. And I got even more scared. I was like, bro, what is on my balcony on the 16th floor on a Tuesday afternoon? Like how the fuck did it get there? What the fuck? Yeah. And then the next thing was it's just in my fucking room, golden. So like you couldn't see the features, but what was very, very obvious was a upside down triangle head, pure golden light, and then a long body with a upside down triangle in where your heart is supposed to be, just hanging in the air. And I was looking at it, and the thing is just there. And that's when I freaked the fuck out. I was like,
So then when was the first time you actually
It was that time.
interacted?
It was that time. No,
What?
and then because there were two people in my life that's told me some stuff in the past.
Right.
They've mentioned about alien or talked about spirituality, this and that, upper realm, all of that stuff. So I wanted to get my phone out and text one of them, which was my Chinese doctor. I wanted to text him like, "Hey man, everything you've been saying is true." Because I used to think it's whatever. Bullshit.
Yeah, well,
sure,
yeah.
sure. So I wanted to text him and say, "Hey, something's here right now. What the fuck?" But before I even texted him, I pulled out his the message chat, and I was about to type something. But you know how on WeChat they would suggest like a word or like a letter or whatever. I was reading the whole sentence saying in Chinese as well. "He's not here. I am. Why are you looking for him?" And that's when I freaked out and I just left the room.
So he's communicating with you through, like, kind of writing on your phone, basically.
Yeah, the fact, it's one thing that there's something in the air in my fucking room.
Yeah.
And then it's another if they can make me see a whole sentence on my phone that I'm holding. That's scary. So I left the room. I looked at whatever the fuck that was. I looked at it. I said, "Fuck you. I've got people in that house. I don't even know if I'm still in the house or not."
Go and get mummy.
No. She was in Europe at the time. So I was like, fuck this. I'm out.
Okay.
So I left the room. And then I'll show you the messages, actually. So you can see what's going on. So then I started texting my family friend, who's the other guy who told me about this stuff before.
Is this not the guy that came out for dinner the other night?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I was sending him like videos.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, most people can't really see it. Kind of like dolphin-looking things. It's like 3, 1, 2, 3 here. So like I was sending him videos at 6:44. At 7 o'clock, 20 minutes later, something literally came, so I felt it. It's the window first. I actually got sucked into the shadow too.
So basically, you actually kind of wrote down your whole experience in your WeChat. It's quite interesting. You've got like a journal of the experience. Okay, so all right, so let's get through the point. Let's assume that this is not like hallucinogenic, and this is like actually this happened to you. You now have ongoing things going on. Like it's changed. Obviously, it's changed your mindset. Obviously, I imagine quite significantly.
I wouldn't say mindset, but rather perspective on just reality itself.
Well, sometimes I think, like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what is this that we? And you can get so small into like electrons and quarks and create, but then you get infinitely big. Like, what is big? What's small? Where are we? How do we start? There's so many things we don't understand. Right? We can't even comprehend infiniteness, so it's impossible for us to comprehend where we came from. So, like, religion is just like the dumbed down version of what it could really be, I guess.
I would say it's primary school, kindergarten. Yeah.
So,
but kindergarten is supposed to teach the kids whatsoever, so they can move on to the next stage. But right now, what's happening is it's being used for control, like mass control.
Well, everything you learn is mostly in your first 7 years of life. Right? That's when your brain adopts everything. That's when you become conscious. It's after the first 7 years, right? So you have a set of programs that you're conscious of, and those programs are given to you during your schooling years, to your parents, during your culture, and that makes the man or the lady or whatever from those first 7 years.
And to think that in some Western societies they mix religion and politics together, that's pretty scary.
Separation of church and state, right? It's a key principle.
I mean, look at America.
Well, I mean, America's just a mess, isn't it? I mean, it's a whole nother conversation. So the most recent interaction that you've had, tell me what's happening. Are you using this as like guidance, or what? Have you got like an ultimate goal of what you're trying to achieve now? Because obviously DJing must be kind of rather insignificant if you have having these kind of ideas and concepts. DJing is just kind of like a means to an end is the wrong way of saying it. Like a means to do what you want to do in the future. What is that? Do you want to enlighten people about what you've seen and what you understand, or are you just kind of no? I just need to keep this to myself at the moment.
I think whether or not you believe in spirits, souls. Do you believe in souls? Do you believe in souls?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I definitely believe there's something. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
And I don't know where we go afterwards and where we come. But the fact that we're here,
That's my point.
we can remember things. So I must exist after I end. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to know that I'm here now. It would just be
my
gone.
point is that the fact that we are physically here in this realm, at this place, at this time, there is a purpose behind that, or there is a meaning, for sure. You're not just here doing jack shit. So the fact that we have this physical body means that we, at least how I see it as, it's whatever information or knowledge or whatever things you get from the other realms, or by speaking to spirits, aliens, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, is so that you can take it back into your current life on Earth. It's not about so you can like, oh, I'm gonna get picked up by the aliens and never come back. No, the fact that you're here, there is definitely a purpose and meaning, and everything you've been told, or be in contact with, or in touch, or whatever, is to help you here.
So do you think that there's a popular kind of rumor or belief that there is like lizard people? You know about lizard people?
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole. I think it's almost like a distraction. How I see it, all that lizard people, reptilians, are controlling the Earth. It's almost, I think there are some truth to it.
Yeah. So that it's not actually lizard people, but do you think there are like a group of people that have access to information that everyone else doesn't have, and it's just manipulating it?
Yeah. I think since thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
Already.
And that's where the kind of like Illuminati idea comes from. It just manifests itself in some other name each few hundred years or whatever, and you have different groups of people that
if it's meant to be a secret society, then you're not supposed to know it. If everyone knows Illuminati, then do you really think that's what's going on?
You've got to be ambitious.
Yeah,
because during that stage, like certainly for a man, and I talk a lot about this on my YouTube channel, is a man has got to hustle. He's got to make the money. He's got to make himself competent. He's got to get himself influence. Not necessarily social media influence. I mean, influence amongst his peers by respect, because people look at him and go, "Wow, this guy's serious. This guy's doing something. He's on the hustle." That's the only way in life for you to really become someone as a man. For a lady, it's totally different. You're 18, 19 years old. You're hot. You can do whatever you like. Right, so that's why I always say to people, when you're during your 20s, don't waste your time on women, because there's just no point, because most of the time, your time...
Even when I was 14, someone told me that, stop caring about women, focus on the shit you want to do.
Was it your uncle?
No.
Was who's the name of the guy?
Get really good at the shit you want to do, and you're going to attract all the women.
Exactly. And most of the time, anytime you spend chasing women, one, it's a waste of your time, because it's like
money,
it's likely to go to zero, that relationship, right? Because most girls, you're with them
you
for a
either
while,
marry her or you break up.
Yeah,
that's it.
And then also it's the opportunity cost during that time. For you to get a girl, it takes so much more effort than when you're 30 years old, you're successful, you've got some money, you've got a network of people respect you, and then it's just like, I wouldn't want to sound misogynistic or anything, but that's what, a woman looks towards a man who's a leader, right? In most cases, not all women, but most women. And once you're there, it's a much easier.
At least the best kind.
The kind that you want to get married to and have children with, I assume, yeah. For sure. Okay, so Hong Kong, you're going to stay here for a little while. You've got a few shows traveling. It's been really good talking to you about this crazy stuff. That conversation went off in like quite a tangent, didn't it? All right. Well, I think we should wrap up there, because there's been we were an hour into a podcast and we talked about a lot of stuff. I really enjoyed talking to you, Giorgio, and obviously I'm going to wish you the best for your career and all the stuff you want to do. I know that you're going to. I would say that you're going to go further up the DJ charts for sure. Number one. Ooh, that's a big ambition, but it's important to set your targets high, right?
If your goal is not to be number one, then
what's the point? Exactly. What's the fucking point? Yeah, exactly. And I obviously would love it if you got there, because I'd be like, Giorgio, can you book me for a show, please? I want to relist myself as a DJ.
Dude, if you're that big, any festivals I get booked, I can be like, I need Spencer to play before me. Thanks.
Yeah, I'd be like, Giorgio is my best mate. I know. No, it's great. All right, so don't forget to check out Giorgio's new record.
Golden Hour.
Golden Hour. It's a remix. It's out right now. You listen to it on Spotify, YouTube. Music video for it, or it's just no music video?
No music video.
No music video, but you can download, listen to it on Spotify, whatever. And thank you for tuning and listening in to
Appreciate it.
Lockstorm. It's been really great. And maybe I'll have you back on in when you're number one, baby.
Yeah?
Yeah?
I think that you're gonna have you back on next month when I'm in Bangkok.
Oh, yeah. Let's see if I go to Bangkok first. All right, awesome. All right, let's wrap it up. Thanks, guys, for listening.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.